Hey folks, I got a day off, finally. I've been working a lot of overtime hours. So, let's just have a chat today, okay? Stay tuned. Hello folks, welcome back to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I'm your host, Jerry Hanson. I have a day off and I'm going to take some Jerry time in this hammock. And we're just going to hang around and have a little bit of a chat today. Now the trick is getting in and not falling out and breaking my neck. Okay, there we go. Yes, this is homesteading at its best. So, that chat, the sun's in my eye, let me adjust. I guess this will do. Usually do it on the back porch swing, but right now we're just enjoying the front yard's ambiance. The weather has cleared the smoke a little bit. We have that wildfire that's still burning. Jeremy, my son, is still up there and fighting the fires. He called and let us know that because the temperatures cooled off a little bit and there's a bit of moisture in the air, the fire didn't grow as much as we thought it would. So it's just holding right about 12,000 acres and it gives them a chance to get a handle on it. That is a blessing. Yeah, we need. Now, I'm a native Oregonian. I grew up here. I'm 61 years old. I grew up in a small coastal town called Coos Bay, Oregon, and it was the largest lumber shipping port in the world at that time. Yeah, there was a lot of logs coming in. We had like 19 to 23 sawmills going around just the Coos Bay area at that moment. And yeah, my dad was a banker and an ambulance driver over there, and I started one of my first jobs over there it wasn't delivering newspapers. That was my second job. My first job was in the 6th grade, I became an ambulance dispatcher. Now, mind you, this was before they had 911. Back in the day, we had put each phone number of the hospital, the ambulance, the fire department, the police department on your refrigerator. And it was the latter part of the last century, so a lot of regulations have been implemented since then. Which segues me into what I wanted to talk about with these forest fires. Now, when I was a kid growing up, we didn't have forest fires like this. So what's changed that the fire danger is so unprecedented? Well, some would probably say, well, it's climate change. I will have to agree about climate change because the Earth has always been in a state of change since it was formed. So the climate is always changing. Everything's changing. It's never static. So yeah, the climate's always changing. We have cycles, warming cycles, cooling cycles, warming cycles, cooling cycles, things like that. But with my personal observation in my 61 years on this planet, the forest fires, I can tell you the truth that they are not related to the climate. They are related to, now remember what I said earlier about when I had a job as an ambulance dispatcher when I was in the 6th grade. I was 11 years old. And now today they have all kinds of regulations that prevents a kid from having fun. Well, that's what's happening today. The forest fires are a result of stupid, hey, that's my personal opinion, stupid, ignorant policies and regulations. Now the fact is, we had forest fires back in the day. There probably just were as many forest fires when I was growing up as there was today. The difference is the size of the fires that they were allowed to become. Now, back in the day, remember, I lived in the largest lumber shipping port in the world. Therefore, that lumber had to come from somewhere. It came from the mountains and valleys around our area. The loggers would go out and cut down the trees, harvest them, and we'd ship them out all over the place. They'd be milled into lumber, and the civilizations of the world would grow and prosper as a result of the timber. But they weren't stupid. They went ahead and replanted, reforested, because the land was owned, and they'd want to grow another crop for 30 years down the road to reharvest. And that's what's been going on up here until the regulators came and shut everything down, closed this, that, and the other thing down, put a lot of people out of work, and really caused a lot of undue hardship in a lot of communities. But what that did is it took the loggers out of the forest. So this is my point. Back in the day, when a fire was sparked, there was so many loggers in the woods that they would all drop what they were doing, run to the side of the fire, and squash that fire while it was only maybe a quarter of an acre instead of tens of thousands of acres, and just letting it take off. Like, we've had fires here where they manage the fire. Oh, residents in our area know exactly what we're talking about. Managing a fire means letting it burn, and that rankles me to no end, because here's where the rules and the regulations and the policies, that's where they interrupt the ecosystem. With all the good intentions that the environmentalists had at preserving nature, that policy at closing down the forests became more and more unhealthy, choked full of fire brush, and with nobody in the woods to quash a fire when it was sparked, they allowed to grow quickly to several acres, and pretty soon exploded to several thousands of acres and hundreds of thousands of acres. And that was counterproductive to what their original intentions were, was to preserve the forest by kicking all the loggers out of the forest and let the fluffy, soft animals have a peaceful life in the woods. Well, guess what? Now that, the facts will show and the evidence shows, was not a very wise decision on their part, taking man out of the woods that could otherwise suppress the fires and save the timber, like the old growth timber, other timbers that they could preserve and save, and as a result putting the flames out and saving the wildlife. This new policy and procedure that they've been having is kicking everybody out of the forest, preventing anybody from going into the forest, and managing fires rather than putting the fires out. The fires were burning so intensely and so hot, it was sterilizing the soils in the woods where things wouldn't grow back for a long, long, long time. And also, while the forest was burning, it was killing, that's right, killing all those soft, fluffy animals. That wasn't very bright of that group of people to be able to come up with those policies. They really didn't think it through thoroughly, now did they? Now let's be reasonable adults here and reason together and look at the facts. Logging it can be a good thing so long as it's managed well. And the forests are reforested and they're managed where they're not as how you would say, volatile. when a fire comes. It becomes very ugly and it does so much damage. Look what happened to the policies that they allowed to happen for so many years in California with the car fire and the campfire. The car fire killed some people, and a lot of people lost a lot of real estate down in Redding, California. And then the campfire, well, the power line sparked some fires, and well, that killed a lot of people. And that was because of the restrictions on the managing of the forests around those communities. That goes back to the policies and procedures of people who thought they were doing good. Now, I live with wildfires and I see how they react and happen every single year. I've been up here in this little valley for 30 years, and there's not a year that goes by that we haven't had a wildfire. And we at least have, at minimum, 3 wildfires in a 12-month calendar year just within a 10-mile radius of my homestead every single year. There is some logging going on, not a whole lot, but there could be some more going on where they can be selective and start thinning and cleaning some of this stuff up. And not only making it safe for people who live around here, but also people who live in the urban areas, because those fires will come up to an urban area and decimate that urban area, just as it proved in Redding, California, and also Paradise, California. That was sad. Well, I don't usually get political, and this is trying to be as apolitical as possible with this subject. But living with wildfires, yeah, it's something everyone should be concerned about. And everyone putting their heads together and reason together collectively and coming up with a viable solution that works. Right now, the residents around where I live in this whole region are up in arms. We're fed up. We are sick and tired of the smoke. We're sick and tired of the fires. We're just plain sick and tired, and it's time to do something and call to action. What needs to be done is collectively we all get our heads together and come up with a more reasonable plan for sustaining the forests, suppressing these fires before they ever get even big as they are, and yeah, getting more management on these forests. More reasonable, sane management. I'm your host, Jerry Hanson. This is Pine Meadows Hobby Farm, tucked high in the Cascade Ranges of the Pacific Northwest. We are geographically located west-southwest of Crater Lake National Park here in Oregon. And we happen to be in the epicenter of the highest concentration of wildfires per capita in the nation. Yee-haw, yippee-ki-yay. Oh, please stay tuned for more videos. You can do that by subscribing and clicking that bell icon that alerts you to new videos as I upload them. Helping out our channel, you can give me a thumbs up, leave a question or a comment, and also click that share button on your social media. That really helps out our channel greatly. Check out some items below. I got some links below. One link is for our show that's available to watch on Discovery Channel, and there's a couple items down there I've got for sale. I started this clothing line and some coffee mugs, and also there's some other things like this hammock is featured down there. You can click on a link and enjoy one of these hammocks like I am for my homestead. These are great. Follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Reddit, Blogger, Instagram, and well, I'm trying to get back on Instagram and Snapchat. And I'm also on Tumblr and LinkedIn and Parler. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. Okay, was that a little bit too radical? Let me know in the comments. I appreciate it.